Well, USDA's APHIS recently finalized its newest approach to animal ID, which keeps records of farm animals so that they can be easily tracked from their birth through the marketing chain. However, it is causing some concern for cattle producers. Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law joins us now with the latest. And Roger, before we get to this, I know you are a good friend of our founder, CEO of RFD-TV, Rural Media Group, Patrick Gotch, and I thought you'd like to maybe say something to the family and maybe speak to his legacy a little bit and all that he did for agriculture.
Yeah, thank you, Suzanne. Good to be with you and take this opportunity. You know, Patrick had a unique style about him, and he also had a passion for rural America, and that's very important because there's an extreme disconnect between the vast majority of the public and our producers of food in this country, food and fiber, and to the extent that we can continue to explain that story and try to connect those two groups back up, we're all going to be better for that. And so he played a key role in that, in establishing rural media and RFD-TV in particular. And that's just been a blessing to, I think, all of us and to try to get that message out and make it a blessing for everybody else.
Well, Roger, thank you. I know he would appreciate that very much. Well, USDA published this new final rule early this month, and I know Patrick would say get to the facts, so let's talk about that. What's involved here?
Well, Suzanne, this has actually been going on for about 25 years. Animal ID has been an issue for about a quarter of a century. And the most recent development is this May 9 rule, this final rule that mandates that adult cattle and bison that are shipped interstate, so across state lines, have to bear an electronic ID ear tag. And so the new rule effectively eliminates the flexibility that was given producers under the 2013 final rule to use the lowest cost ear tags, the lower cost ear tags, I should say, that don't require premises registration. So the new rule also, in addition to that, places an emphasis on trade. Of course, they're trying to trace back disease source, so they think that this will enhance trade.
You know, a lot of producers, we've been talking to them about this situation here. They feel that the cost is going to fall back on them. So maybe you can speak to that. What type of costs are we talking about?
Well, first of all, APHIS estimates that the cost for the ear tag itself will be about $30 per producer per operation. But I've also seen some cost estimates that are much higher. It depends on what you're factoring into the cost to get to the result. But if you're a cattleman in, say, Ohio, for example, your cost is going to be higher than it will be for a producer in Kansas. We have packing plants in Kansas. Those cattle don't have to cross a state line. And this rule only applies if your cattle are crossing state lines in interstate commerce, but Ohio doesn't have any packing plants. So those Ohio cattle will have to cross state lines and they'll be in interstate commerce. They're going to be subject to the rule. So it's got a disparate impact depending upon the geographic location of where those cattle are at and where those producers are at.
You know, something that we're always looking at as far as our producers and ranchers, they want to know when you look at a new rule like this, you're the guy to say, you know, and speak to this. Do you see it leading to any legal issues or challenges as this goes forward?
Yeah, most certainly I do. That's been the history of the past 25 years. Every time a rule has been announced or a modification, there's been a legal challenge to it. And a lot of times those legal challenges have been successful and USDA has had to pull back the rule and retool it. And I think we'll see that. And we'll also see political challenges. For example, Senator Rounds out of South Dakota has already introduced a bill in the Senate that would prohibit the Ag Secretary from implementing any rule that mandates electronic ID. And when the rule came out later that same day, Congresswoman Hageman from Wyoming said that she would introduce a joint resolution of disapproval under the Congressional Review Act. And also Senator Rounds and Tester from Montana said the same thing. They're pushing the U.S. Senate to pass a resolution of disapproval, which would lead to invalidation of the rule under the Congressional Review Act. And on top of that, I think there will be legal challenges based on various constitutional grounds.
Well, Roger, as always, thank you so much for breaking this down for us. Happy early birthday. I hope you get some time off to enjoy and celebrate.